Ever since Wayfinder shut down on the MMO side of things, I kind of made a faithful vow to myself to never really get too excited for an MMORPG again. I got burnt with Wayfinder. It was a tragic situation that no one could have helped, no one saw coming, and it kind of just went that way. It was just an unlucky set of circumstances that killed an MMO. There's still a game, and I will respect them wholeheartedly for not just instantly closing that shit down and saying there's no game. There is a game and you can play it. It's just not the game I was promised. So I kind of made a fateful vow that day to not get too excited for an MMORPG so that I don't get burnt quite as bad ever again. Blue Resonance showed up. Didn't even get to try that one. Didn't get excited enough for that one. That one didn't even make it to the West. So I've not really been on the eye of MMORPGs recently. I haven't really been paying attention to most of them because I'm kind of just sick of the whole launch, close down within a year, never to be seen again, or the promises they make just don't line up, or the game isn't as smooth as they show. All these things just lead to a poor, very generic MMORPG that no one ends up sticking around with. But the Summer Games Fest this year, they showed off Chrono Odyssey. I apparently had this game wishlisted already, so it was on my radar, but I didn't exactly know what it was, and the trailer at Summerfest didn't really make it clear what it was. It seemed like a free-player Souls-like game where you just go around killing bosses and stuff, and I was like, I could get some boys together, I could get some good friends to slay some bad boys, and we'd have some fun. It wouldn't be a game changer, but it seems like it was clean, fluent gameplay, kind of smooth, buttery, something I would enjoy playing for a little bit and turning off. And then I went on the Steam page, and then I saw it was an MMORPG, and all of a sudden, my ears perked a little. My head started to get a bit warm. It was time to see what was under the hood. Bit of research later, and I found out that it was supposed to be a full-blown action MMORPG that was going to just change my life forever, pretty much. They made some solid promises. No pay to win. Debatable, we'll see if that one comes to be true or not. They were saying that it's not going to have any dailies in it. It's not going to be just like forcing you to log in every single day to get the shit that you need to play the game. They were promising 5-man dungeons, 10-man raids, PvP in optional areas and toggleable in every area, as well as a full-blown PvPvE mode that you can play that is an extraction mode. They were promising some big things, so I was pretty excited, pretty hyped. It was now on my radar. I'm sending it to friends. I'm like, guys, look at this. This is kind of cool. We should kind of look at this. Maybe it'd be worth playing. You never know. You never know. And then they showed 17 minutes of gameplay. And I need it, dude. I fucking need this. This needs to be... I cannot live right now if this one isn't it. This is, everything is lining up right now for me to finally have the MMORPG I've been looking for and searching for a while. Yes, there are some caveats and complaints, and I will get into those, but fuck, that 17 minutes looked clean. Showing off the dungeons, the PvP, the open world field bosses, the fucking mega bosses, it looked all so good and clean, dude. All of it was buttery smooth, and I just want to play it. I need to play it. I've signed up for the beta. If I get in, you'll see videos. It's a need now. It's a need in my life. This is a basic human need that I have to live. If this is bad, if this isn't what they're showing, I'm going to be so fucking mad, because this is a need now. This is something I want in my life to be happy. For God's sake, do not fuck this up. It can't be that hard. Just make it how you're promising, I beg. Some of the caveats I am having are very simple. They are promising no pay to win, and from what they've shown in that 17 minutes of trailer, I didn't see any other currencies or anything that you could buy of like in the auction house or anything like that that would indicate a pay to win system being there. But like I said, there's gonna be interesting to see how they pull this off, because pay to win is interesting, because how do you sustain an MMORPG without like paying for the game and subscriptions and all that stuff through monetization with skins and stuff if people don't want to whale out for you? The most whales whale out for power, so it's always very hard to entice people in, get a sustainable amount of players to buy your stuff constantly. It's a hard thing in this day and age when there's so many options out there. So what are you going to offer them? Just skins? Maybe you offer them character slots. Maybe you offer them bank slots, inventory slots, craftable like timers. Like where do you draw the line of pay to win? Crafting faster to me is a pretty big achievement, especially when they're saying that you can use those craftables to go into the end game. You don't have to gather them from dungeons. You can pick your own way in. So that means someone who just went with craftables, buys the timer potions, would be able to do that. Just go straight into the end game very quickly and easily, faster than I could. It's always going to be a hard struggle on what they consider to be pay to win to what consumers consider to be pay to win. So you always got to go in with like a little bit of a maybe when it says no pay to win. Most people in the developer space, I feel like, just means you can't buy physical power. You can't buy a weapon or armor that is going to be equivalent or better to what you can get in the game. That's what normally that means. But if it just means you can buy the equivalent materials to get there faster, some players aren't going to be happy with that. I personally am on the end of the spectrum where I don't really care if you can buy the craftables and buy speed ups and stuff. Like, that's fine. I more draw the line when you can buy something I physically can't obtain through playing the game, or if it takes considerably way too much time to do so. The other thing that they were showing off through the gameplay was the weapon system. I'm not a big fan of the 2 weapon swap system. I don't like it in ESO. I absolutely hated it in Throne and Liberty, and I'm kind of intrigued to see how it works here. I don't know what is going to arise from it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to force one weapon. I don't know if it's going to be seamlessly transitioning between the 2. Maybe it's going to work a lot better than I think it will. And the abilities throughout the weapons seems like it will carry over. They seem to have different bars, which changes the Throne and Liberty problem I had, where the weapons had shared bars, so you would have to pick between what abilities you wanted for what weapons on your bar. If they have separate bars, I'd be a lot more happier with that, kind of like how ESO does it. It's going to be interesting, and maybe, like ESO, down the line, they'll add something that makes it so you do more damage while only having one weapon slotted. The sky's the limit, but I'm not a big fan of weapon swapping. I like focusing on the single weapon I have, so like a sword and shield. I just want to use that. I don't want to use the 2 swords on my back, or a bow, or a crossbow. I just want to use a sword and shield. But in some instances, like if you're ranged, it's nice to have a melee backup. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works and how they implement that into the gameplay. But I'm not a big fan of the system just in general. Another thing is, shields just seemed absolutely broken. They were just tanking through everything. They didn't have to care. Other people were just taking hits, trying to dodge and stuff, and this guy is just taking stance and walking forward, and nothing was happening to him. He could even just block, like, the environmental damage in the solo dungeon. It seems like shields are going to be very, very strong, which is kind of ridiculous when it's a Souls-like dodge game, and you've got someone just walking forward with their shield. I'm hoping that it's just from what they were showing, because also one of my things I didn't like was no one was doing damage. Like, you were dealing decent damage to them, but they just didn't deal any damage to you. They were hitting you for like 10s and 8s and at most like 40s, and you had like 5k health. I'm hoping that's just for them to show off the gameplay, and it wasn't just them dying constantly, so they just like increased their health pool, decreased their damage, so they could show off the gameplay. That's my only like hope there. And if that's the case, it kind of sucks because it doesn't show the gameplay in its truest form. It's just kind of showing how flashy the game can be if you were at like max power, I guess, but not how it's going to be for the majority of the game. Those bosses weren't dealing damage, and if that's the general game gist and it doesn't change from that, then it's going to be boring. It's going to be no challenge. No one's going to be dodging. You're just going to tank the hit and keep swinging. I'm just hoping that they were trying to just show the game off and didn't want to take any risk in capturing that, so just nerf the damage of the enemies, up their damage and health. That's my kind of hope there. But overall, it just looks fun as fuck, and I just want to play it, and I can't wait to play it. I'll know in like 2 weeks, because I swear they said the beta was in 2 weeks, And if I'm in, I get to experience it firsthand. If I'm not, I'll have to experience it through everyone else's opinions and hope that they don't instantly just shit the game down and be like, yep, no, this isn't anything that they promised. This is all mediocre and ass. I gotta hope. But if I get in, I'll be much more happier to experience it for myself. But god damn, just give me the game, I beg of you. Anyway, I hope I get into Chrono Odyssey. I hope to see you guys in Chrono Odyssey if it's good. And until next time, I'll see you again. Peace.